Hello, hello. Okay, let me start by saying, okay, well, let me send myself in the screen and then start by saying, hey there, YouTube slash your chicks and slash your dudes. My name's Alicia, and this is Slash Your Chick TV, where we like to talk about growth mindset and negotiation strategy. So you never have to choose between this or that. You can always say yes to this slash that. And in order to say yes to myself and yes to this YouTube channel that I left for a while, I have been on this 90-day live stream challenge where I go live every day for at least a half an hour. And we are on day 86. And I am blown away that I've made it this far. Um, and I am proud of myself for sure. And since today, well, how many days do we have left? Let me just see. All right, so I am. Oh, let me remember now to put my do not disturb on. Okay, so today is what I like to call Freedom Friday. And then tomorrow we'll do a self care Saturday. Sunday's my VIP reset. And then Monday is Money Moves Monday. And Tuesday is Tech Tuesday. And Tuesday actually is my last day, and that will be day 90. And I hope that you'll come back and join me for that up until then. But in the meantime, tonight on Freedom Friday, I like to talk about, I guess, essentially whatever I want. But I am ultimately seeking the goal of freedom: time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, all things freedom. I thought one of the goals I had for 2024 was I had this electric scooter because I used to see people riding their little electric scooters around the city and be really jealous of them. And I wanted that life. So then I bought an electric scooter and I was too scared to ride it for, well, I guess a year, because I bought it last summer when it was still warm. And then my excuse when the winter came was like, oh, it's too cold, it's gonna be icy. Like we got our first snow in over 2 years, and it was like a dusting. So when that finally started, it was no excuse that I couldn't have been riding the scooter. But I finally rode the scooter to work. So that when I was riding the scooter and feeling the wind in my hair, I literally felt freedom. It felt so free. Now, this wind in my hair was under the helmet because I'm also still afraid of getting hit by cars. I ran a red light, which was scary as hell, because as I'm riding through this intersection on just this scooter, I'm like, oh, stuff. Like, please don't let anybody run this light, because if they had started to cross that intersection while I was crossing the intersection, I would have been splat. So it definitely helped me develop a new level of empathy, because I used to judge people that were riding their bikes and scooters on the sidewalk. And I'm like, oh, you got all this road and there's a bike lane. Okay, where there's not a bike lane, it is hell on the where there's not a bike lane, it's hell on the road, because cars do not care about you and your open body on this bike or scooter or skateboard for that matter. And so if you got to ride on the sidewalk, you got to do what you got to do. I totally understand it now, because cars were just jutting out here and there with like no regard to other people on the road. And I don't drive like that, so I don't know. I was being naive, uh, but it was great to achieve the goal of finally riding the scooter. And then the other thing I did today, which is something I hadn't done in a long time, but that I started going to float therapy, or a sensory deprivation tank, where you float in salt water uh, with no sound and no light. And it's helps you relax. It can be a meditative practice. I started it because I could not meditate on my own before then. Um, but it was something that really helped me get into that. And I hadn't done that in definitely over 6 months. But so I wanted to share though, kind of what that's like. And so I have a couple of little videos about it. So, because when you go to the sensory deprivation tank before you get in, you have to prepare yourself. So, in order to prepare yourself, there's a couple of things you'll need to do. One, you kind of have to like shower, clean off the outside of yourself, and then two, you'll want to cover. I'll go back in so you can see the tank. You want to There'll usually be like petroleum jelly or something in there so you can cover any potential like cuts or if you shaved and like nicked yourself that day. You don't want the salt water all over that. And there's like earplugs to put in your ears so that you don't get the water in your ears if don't want water in your ear. And so then after you do all that, then you can get in. This is the tank itself. I think I got a little thing of that. Okay. The airdrop is working. Okay, so then when you're ready to get in the tank, this is the tank. Is this the right one? Oh, not the right one. My bad. I think that's the same one I already showed. This is the right. All right, so this is like the entrance to the tank. And then for the purpose of understanding what the experience is like, then once you get in, I have this video. Now, the actual float itself is about 90 minutes. I did not have a full 90-minute float today because I it was almost like because it had been so long, it was almost like my first time doing it again. So I think it took me a while to kind of like get back into the float groove here. Yeah, but then so this is what it's like inside the sensory
Okay,
deprivation.
let's see, get this exercise because if I get it, like, shut the door. Let's see, something.
And then you stay in there like this for 90 minutes. And let me just go back so you can get the whole what that's like. All right, where did I close the door? Okay, you're getting in. This is a point of view.
Let's see, something.
That's it for 90 minutes. That's what the sensory deprivation tank is like. Hey, Coach Sherry. Yes, I'm on day 86 of my 90 consecutive days of live streaming. And at 9 minutes in, I am a third of the way there. So that's I was happy to get back to that today because it had been a long time since I had been able to do a float, and that was really nice. So, yeah, Coach Sherry, I was showing, I don't know if I talked about this before in any of my other lives, but one of the things that I like to do for relaxation and to help me kind of meditate and it definitely I feel like gets the creative juices flowing too because you can't there's nothing in there to distract you. It's just you and you. So yeah, I went to the sensory deprivation tank today and I was showing what that process is like and kind of how you Okay. Kind of, yeah, showing what that process is like. And then I was showing, I think just as you came in, what it's like to get
All right,
in the
let's
zone.
see, get this exercise. Let's make it real quick. Shut the door. Let's see something.
And then that's all you see and hear until you get back out. So that's, yeah, one of the things I did today, but I did not do it for all 90 minutes because I didn't have it in me. Now the other thing that led to my topic of today is one of my topics of today, because besides the sensory deprivation tank, I think I put in my description about the road to Hana. So I had, I started this channel in 20. I told this story before, but this will help for the recap when I recap these 90 days of live streaming. When I started this channel in 2019 for that first year, oh, Coach Cherry, it's yeah, you're in water and you're in water that's like full of Epsom salt. So you float. You can't, it's not possible for you to drown unless you have like some sort of condition that for some reason, like it's not possible for you to drown because the bottom line is your survival instincts. So even if you fall asleep, which that's where I consider a really good float, is if I get to the point where I'm so relaxed I can sleep. Um, yeah, but you're just, yeah, floating in the salt water. Um, and now the tank that I just showed you is one of the more original traditional tanks. It does not have music or light, but then they do have some more modern tanks that have like ambient light or like spa music, and I will occasionally do those too. When I first started it, that was the kind of tank I was in. But the traditional one that I did today, I like it because like it gets so quiet, like you can hear your heartbeat, like everything. Um, so how I feel after, I usually feel like the equivalent of a nice massage, like that level of relaxation. Um, I get a lot of ideas when I'm there. I might often go into a float, and if it's something like I'm trying to resolve or something I'm still processing, like I'm hoping to come out with answers. So now, what I do with my hair, this took a while. Now, it's not necessarily like a MRI because they're not all like super small. Like some people have tanks that are like the size of a room. But like, let me say some examples. Now this one is not a franchise, but I do believe there are organizations that franchise it. This one in Philadelphia is called Halcyon Floats. Um, but they have them, in lots of places because there's a lot of them in South, not necessarily a lot, but they have them in South Jersey. Um, but here, this is one article, and I think it'll have a photo. Um, do, 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 that shows it better. Okay, here we go. All right, my do not disturb is on. So yeah, the first tank was designed in 1954 by a physician and neuroscientist, and he designed it to study the origins of consciousness once you cut off other stimuli. And that's what I was saying. I couldn't meditate on my own because I just couldn't, like, the thoughts. It was harder to stop the thoughts. I'm like, oh, well, if I do out other distractions, would that be easier? And the goal is to get into like the brainwave state that you ideally get into in a float is the theta brain waves, like that state between sleep and awakeness where like you are both conscious and your subconscious is working stuff out. So people have used it, yeah, for like anxiety disorder, um, if they have trouble sleeping. And they do say, yeah, because of the like water effect, it can also relieve pain, because I do think it's relaxing. Um, Now, I've never seen this before about it supporting cardiovascular health, but I guess that's, yeah, saying about the reduction of stress, and the deep relaxation, and how that has, benefits for our heart health. But I thought this one was going to have the pictures of the tank. Let me just say, hold on. Sorry for the fast scrolling in case that makes anybody sick. I think you might be right, Coach Sherry. But this other picture is what. So I usually wear a swimsuit. I think some people, like if I had one in my home, yeah, I would wear nothing. Um, but here we go. Here's some photos. You can see some other. All right, this is one. I never seen a couples float before. Huh. Oh yeah, you can definitely find one in Dustin. Okay, here's from a Vogue magazine article about it, where she did a 60-minute one. Oh, okay. This photo is definitely going to show you better. So this is one version of a tank. You can see how large, this one is. Um, Now the place that I go, let's see if they have their. If I can find a photo real quick of their larger float with ease. Okay. Then there's other ones that you kind of walk into, like this. That's more like think walking into an armoire, but like a big armoire. Oh, this is not a good photo. But yeah, if you all right, let's see what this one shows. Here we go. The temperature of the water is like, um okay, speaking of Destin and like Florida, I have previously said in my other story how I love the Naples, Florida, because I love the Gulf water, because it feels so warm and like a nice hug from the ocean. That's the equivalent of the temperature in the water in a float tank. Now, that's also going to depend on, like I said, the prep part before you get in. You have to shower before you get in. So if you take your shower too warm, well, that's going to change the way the water feels to you. But I make sure to take my shower colder than I would normally like, so that the water feels warmer for longer. Yeah, the larger tank. I can do that time. And the larger tank, you see this one, you have the option of like the ambient light, and this one also actually has sound. So if I do this tank, then I use like spa like music. Now the now I will say it took me, yeah, and that's part of how I fell off, because I used to have a membership, and when I didn't renew, it was like more friction to being able to go. But there I would have a monthly membership, and then you got like certain you got one float, and you could roll them over. And so whether I prefer the music or no music kind of just depends on what mood I'm in. But I do think for someone who's doing it for the first time and like just getting started, the music is a way more accessible version, because you do have to figure out, like, if you're going to one that has, a tank that is like one that you walk in versus like a large room that has a pool. Um, You might be claustrophobic and it might feel too small. Like, I think people have to give themselves some grace to figure that part out too. Um, and I also think it's something that you definitely have to, like, the first, okay, most places I've seen, the average time is like 60 minutes or more. And in talking to the guy that owns the one I'm at, I think he was saying, like, yeah, that that's kind of like the amount of time at a minimum you would need to get to like that theta brain state or whatever. And I think trying to do it for the first time for that long, for me, was hard. I didn't make it 60 minutes, well, mine is 90 minutes, but I didn't make it 90 minutes the first time that I did it. So I also think it's like something that you kind of build up your capacity to sit in silence and darkness. Oh, this one's a good picture. Okay, here we go. Uh-oh. I don't know what I just turned on over here. Hold on. This picture right here, that of course they had advertisement over it. So let me do this instead. Okay. All right. This is going to be the better photo to show the one that you walk into. And let's see how my stream lets me show that. Okay. So this is the one that has the sound and the lighting. And I just wanted to show you that so you could kind of get an idea of the size of like how you walk in. I know it's not, didn't have the nerve to be sideways. Hold on. Let me see if I can. Let me try this again. Hold on. Oh, I know why it's sideways, because of me using this camera in the other direction than what it normally does. So let me just try this way instead. I think this will do it a little better. Um, and actually, I need to show it this way because I need to know, is this gonna let me share more easily? Because, like, how does any of this work on StreamYard? Like, StreamYard is not making this easy for me to share what I want to share, but we're doing it. Oh, here we go. There we go. All right. Now I should be able to. Boom. I knew I was going to figure it out. Now, this is the one that you walk into, and behind this door here, there's a little like iPad that you can control the music. And yes, exactly. That is one of the goals, Coach Sherry. I absolutely have to have one of these in my home. So I totally agree. Like, if you can have a sauna and a pool, you can definitely have a float tank, and I highly recommend it. Um, but yeah, it's definitely something that once I started doing this, I'm like, oh, this is a practice I will have for the rest of my life. Like, it added so much value to my life for sure. So I highly recommend trying it, and that's why I had to get back to it. And speaking of getting back to, that was, yeah, the other thing I tried today. I was looking for lunch and I found this place called Mahalo Hawaiian Barbecue, and they had all my favorite Hawaiian dishes. That they had they had garlic shrimp, they had my favorite Hawaiian breakfast, which is like spam, tomato, rice, and that like furikake. I don't know if that's how you say it, but the like sushi seasoning thing that you like put that all over everything. But they also had the spam masubi, and I just like I got everything I wanted today, and it made me miss Hawaii, which I that's what led me to where I started. When I started this channel in 2019, I did do 52 videos that year. They weren't published once a week, but it's the equivalent of once a week. So I was pretty excited about that. And then I went to London back, thought I was going to travel during 2020. And in 2020, I really wanted to go to Hawaii and Alaska. And I was going to scratch them off my list of seeing the entire United States. And obviously, I did not make it to either that year. But in 2021, I did make it to Hawaii. And I've been meaning to make a vlog of such since then, because one of the things that we did for one, we were staying in Lahaina in Maui, and that was the town that um essentially burned to the ground. uh oh, am I? Hold on, let's see. Hopefully it'll come back, because it doesn't look like I am on my end, but maybe if I remove some of these other things, that also, I don't even know if that's causing it, but we're gonna see. Oh, I know what'll help is stop trying to screen share, since I'm not screen sharing anything right now. That should help too. All right. Go, Cherry, can you give me a thumbs up if I'm better now? Matter of fact, any emoji. Whatever one's the first one you choose. But yeah, I was meaning to make a vlog about that trip to Lahaina. And then Lahaina burned, and was it was just such a disaster. And that really made me sad, because it just seemed like as a country we should have been giving more support. And I really don't know if a lot of the stuff that we saw then is still there, but I was really lucky to be able to do a trip to Hana, what they called the Road to Hana, and it's this really old road to an area of Maui that's not like touristy. And I had been meaning to, I swore up and down I was going to do a vlog about it. And here we are now, 3 years later, still never did the vlog. I hardly ever go back to the videos, but because I was really missing Hawaii today, I did. And then I went back last year, but last year I went to Waikiki, and what's that part of Hawaii called? It's not Maui then, it's Oahu. Yeah. And I am missing Hawaii. I got to get back this year. And so, in addition to my goal of seeing the entire country, now I have to visit all the Hawaiian islands. I have to see every single one. So, I started, going back through some of those, and I'll close with one of my Road to Hana videos that, well, actually, this one was, let me see, how do I get back to that? Those favorites there. This one was not actually the Hana, but it was one of the it was a black sand beach that was near there. And I had never been to a black sand beach. And that was also how I learned that black sand beaches are really just lava, ash and lava. I know, Coach Sherry, like it was gonna be the thing that it still cracks me up to this day. Like You couldn't tell me I wasn't about to go get it in 2020. You could definitely not tell me that. Okay. Um, but where did they okay. Oh, I did not know this is how iPhone put your favorites in these order like this. But here we go. Oh, this thing hates me. All right. I'm at my half hour, so I'm just gonna find a oh, I know exactly what to do. Hold on. Give me 1 second, y'all. Trust me, I got this. I know it might not seem like it, but I really, really do. Okay. And what I wanted y'all to see one, I also got so many rainbows while I was there. I really love Hawaii. I can't wait to go back. And so we are literally days away from July 2024, which will mean there are only 6 months left in this calendar year, which is just so wild to me. But it that means there's 6 months left to do the things that you said you were going to do in 2024. And one of those things for me is definitely getting back to Hawaii, wherever I can go. Like, oh, I hope it lets me show this photo. It better, because these were the things that I was just enjoying there. This is on that black sand beach. Thank you, Mrs. Newton's big family, big noise. Like, look at there. I can't wait. And I can't find my I wanted to show y'all my one of the mini rainbows that I caught out there, but I did not. I didn't capture them. So what I will close with is my favorite breakfast that I was talking about with the spam. Okay, this breakfast. Let me see if it'll. Let me stop my share so y'all can see my breakfast. This breakfast has me in a chokehold, y'all. When I go to Hawaii, I look like I could say that now. I eat this every day. It's probably how I probably gained weight at the end of the year that I'm trying to lose down. But you can go to McDonald's and get this breakfast. And that's why, exactly, Coach Sherry, that's why it's such a wonderful, wonderful place, because you can do exactly that. But yeah, I would go to walk to McDonald's every day to go get this breakfast. Now I make it at home. That's how serious. Like, this one doesn't have enough seasoning on that, but that's that's what I was missing, and I was reminiscing on that today. And I'm bringing it up as we lead into this last half of the year, because I'm going to plan a trip. I got to get back, and I'm telling y'all to keep me honest. So between now and December, hopefully there's a vlog that happens or something. But that's day 86. Like, we've made it here, and I am so excited. Coach Sherry, I didn't see that you went live yet, so hopefully you're getting all set up. Um, but I love the Friday chit chat. So yes, that's rice. Now, when I make it at home, I use jasmine rice usually to make it for myself. Um, but yeah, if you're about to go live, feel free to drop it now. And if not, I'll say join Coach Cherry later. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Newton. That's how things are going right now, but we'll definitely say prayers for you and your family and send you all well wishes. Oh, what do you mean? Well, oh, yes, that's at McDonald's. And in addition to the spam, they also have a version where you can get the Portuguese sausage. Now sometimes I would go get the spam and the Portuguese sausage. Some places also make it with egg, but then they try to do like I don't like egg yolks. I only like egg whites. So I'm not trying to be difficult all the time. So a lot of times I'll just skip the egg altogether. Because everybody don't want to make my egg whites. And I really don't want egg whites like egg beaters. I want you to take the egg and separate the yolk out. And everybody ain't trying to do that for me. So um but yeah, definitely we'll continue to keep you in your prayer. And I'm keeping it up because I was wondering what you mean when you don't get to talk, or maybe it's just saying that when Coach Sherry goes live, it's not a good time for you to be able to engage, so you don't get to talk in the chat. Oh, okay. Huh. Well, I know that's not intended. So now at least Coach Sherry knows that you can go look on our back end and see, is there something where like you accidentally got blocked, or because sometimes that does happen when you're just like trying to stop someone else's thing, but then you accidentally click on the wrong one and you don't even notice it. I've had that happen before, back when I was actually active on this channel years and years ago. And now that I am active again, I could see that being an accidental possibility, because I know that wasn't on purpose. But I'm glad that I hung in there a little, because there's also that delay. It takes like at least 30 seconds, I swear, for anyone, sometimes more, for someone's actual chat comment to be seen now by the person that is viewing it. So I'm glad we hung in there for enough of the delay for y'all to be able to talk that out. I love the community aspect of this thing. Now, the last thing I had said I was going to do was open my new perfume, because I got myself the gift for making it this far, but I'm just going to do that myself and then see y'all and go Cherry's live hopefully later. But that's it. That's day 86. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow for day 87. If no one else told you today, you are more than enough, and I love you.